there was no land bridge. We were already here. They're now proving that. We were here long before their so-called land bridge theory, because they're finding remnants of us here. We were intelligent people, that we had a language, we had many, many languages. There were many, many different cultures here, and they still exist. My name is Ruth Ixel. So I have 3 degrees from the University of Oregon. I have a bachelor's in science. I have a master's in counseling, and I have a PhD in counseling psychology. And I'm a licensed psychologist in Oregon. Native American, definitely. Well, Columbus, when he came here, decided he was in the Indies, which he wasn't. And that's where the word Indian comes from. And I don't know why it's stuck all these years, but this is not the Indies and we are not Indians. So yeah, I have no problem with that term. One of the problems is how natives are treated in everyday life. We have a very different culture. We have very different beliefs. And the majority culture doesn't recognize those as serious beliefs or serious culture. And everyday life in the majority culture, intentionally or unintentionally, mocks our culture regularly. And that's the problem with not respecting the culture, respecting the past, and what's been done to Native Americans and continues to be done. And that's what people are forgetting. There are hundreds of thousands of natives living in poverty and being treated as foreigners in their own country. And nobody talks about that. It's like America's dirty little secret. I mean, if you go back and look at where Hitler learned how to design his death camps, he very clearly says in Mein Kampf, he learned it from the American government and their treatment of the Native Americans. So while everybody says Hitler's a really bad guy, they don't acknowledge that he learned all of his tactics from the U.S. government. And those tactics are ongoing today. The stealing of a native land, the pollution of native land on our reservations, which they put us on as death camps. They were designed to kill us off, and all you have to do is go back to the American writings of the time, the constitutions, and the broken treaties right here in the state of Oregon, saying we should exterminate them all. And then when that didn't happen, they just wiped out total tribes and said they're no longer nations. They're no longer people. They're no longer natives. So here there are written a bunch of treaties which were betrayed. And that's ongoing today. People are being kept on reservations through poverty, abuse, and oppression. And it's an ongoing problem. And that's one of the reasons I work here, is to support my tribe and my people, not the other way around. People think that natives get money from the government. That's just not true. It's not true. What money some natives do get is from tribal money, not from the U.S. government. They don't help us at all. In fact, they're just the opposite. They come in, they steal and poison our plants and our animals with the help of Peabody Coal and other coal companies and other companies to steal our resources. And that's an ongoing issue and has been for 500 years. And yet when we say something about it, people go, get over it, that was 300 years ago. That's not true. All you have to do is go to any one of the reservations and see how people live and see the level of education given there is totally substandard. The living is totally substandard. And if people don't want to believe that, I invite them to come and visit and see how we're treated when we try to get off the reservation. And don't even get me started on the football teams using derogatory terms for our country, in our country, and being allowed to do that. I mean, if they use other derogatory terms For other groups, they would shut them down, boycott them. But to use terms that to us are the same as the N-word, to name football teams, it's just obscene to think that that continues. So here we are, the people who were here first and helped people succeed and stay and thrive, being treated as open game for abuse and ridicule. And they just say, well, that's just too bad, get over it. Because it's not acceptable. And we call ourselves a civilized society. And the way that we're treated outside the reservation and on the reservation is definitely not civilized. I mean, and then they make up stories about us and say we're uncivilized. And when they came here and needed help, we helped them. And they turned on us and literally slaughtered us en masse because they consider us subhuman. And clearly they still consider us subhuman, or they wouldn't allow these things to continue. On Big Mountain, which is Black Mesa. Now a lot of our relatives are still there. We still have land there in the family name. But it's just not safe for my parents there because they still run tyrant over most of the reservation, or parts of the reservation, and they've polluted so much of the reservation, they and the uranium companies, that there's a lot of cleanup that needs to happen before it's ever safe again. But if people want to watch it, they should watch a movie called American Outrage, which shows very clearly how they treat our elders and how they treat people on our own property. And I mean, this is property they forced us onto. And then very clearly said they wanted it back because of the resources that we have. And they don't understand that we have a connection to the land that we're born on. There are a lot of cultures who live in the spiritual world. And so much of the majority culture is materialistic, non-spirit centered, that it's very hard to walk in both worlds. It's very hard because it's like walking through a battleground everywhere you go. You're constantly confronted with things that make no sense in your culture. And when I talk to people about that, they say, oh, there's no real natives left. There are many real natives left, but we often don't talk about our traditions and our beliefs because we're mocked for it. The other thing they do that mocks is all of our history they call folklore and myth. Their history they call history. Really? Well, why are they leaving parts out about African Americans? Why are they leaving parts out about the Native Americans who fought the Revolutionary War? Why are they leaving out all of real history and calling it history? Just because our spiritual history doesn't match their beliefs, they call it myth. It's not myth, it's real. And just because they don't believe in that spiritual world, them is folklore. And yet, science is still proving some of those things to be real. Artifacts have not changed. And they don't have to believe them, and we're not saying they have to believe them. But at least respect our rights. It might take you a little longer to find some of our other hidden artifacts. But they're there. Because, 10 million natives can't be wrong. Where's freedom of religion? This whole country was founded on people who came here for freedom of religion. So it's just their religion. They're the only ones that have the rights. Whatever happened to liberty and justice for all? And now you know why many natives will not seek political allegiance. Because there is a liberty and justice for all. as long as they hide the truth about how they've treated and are treating the first people of this country, nothing's ever going to change. And it's sad because these are my children, these are my children's children, these are my ancestors that were killed for nothing more than just being alive. They did nothing wrong except try to help people who came to this country who needed help. And we still try to help people because that's how we are. And people tell me all the time, it's like, well, why do you do that? Isn't that how you got in trouble in the first place? And it's like, yes. That's how we got in trouble in the first place. We're not going to change who we are just because some people take advantage. Because we are the same. We will always be the same because our truths never change. Finally graduated from Russell High School. But, you know, it's odd that they never figured out why I was absent so many days. Because we never told them I was Native. They never realized that I was off at boarding schools during those times. And they never figured it out. Why? But I was still getting good grades, so they didn't pay attention. It's just strange how, in those days, back in the 60s, early 60s, nobody really paid much attention to those things, I guess. The government was, I don't know, the schools were different then. But I was fortunate to graduate. And that's the sad thing about the reservation. Kids who were in boarding school, some died. I watched friends die. I watched people were castrated, people were, anybody who made trouble was made sterile. They wanted to be sure that we knew we were not human. And they made it very clear that if you're not a Christian, you're not human. And that was if you look at the first boarding schools made, that's why they were made. A white Catholic man decided that, well, they're not human until they're Catholic, so we'll just bring them in all and make them Catholic, and then they'll be human. And those of us who held on to our language, who had our lips burned off, my lips are still chapped, they'll always be chapped. We had all sorts of torture. My voice will never be the same. But the thing is, we would not give up our traditions. And so we were moved from boarding school to boarding school, and I'd run away and get sent back. Yeah, it was a constant battle. Fortunately now, most of the boarding schools are run by natives and not that way. So things have changed for the better in some ways. But the education on the reservation is still substandard. And nobody's doing much about it. Working on bringing back our language, because we've already lost a lot of it. Just 20 years ago, about 70% of our nation still spoke Navajo, and now we're down to about 17%. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. So we're working very hard on keeping our language alive. We're one of the few reservations where the language is still very much alive, or was, and we're rapidly losing it. We're losing our tradition.